You know what's weird? Nobody ever said outright, I wasn't allowed to rest. Nobody said, you'll be punished if you say no. But I still felt that guilt. I still felt that fear of disappointing someone. And that guilt, that fear, they didn't need loud voices. They lived in the silence, in the disappointing tone of someone. When I was in the workforce, and I used to call in to work because I was sick or one of my children was sick or whatever legitimate reason I had, because I've always had a strong work ethic. The person on the other end of the line, they say the right words, okay, feel better, but their tone, it said something else. It said, I don't believe you. It said, we needed you. It said, you're letting us down. So no one ever said it out loud, but I could hear it anyway. When I was asked to work overtime or pull a double shift, I usually said yes. Well, for one, I said yes in the hopes that my work ethic would get noticed by the higher ups. But also, I said yes because I felt like I had to. I wanted to be seen as a team player. I thought maybe if I said yes enough times, they'd remember it when it was time for a raise or promotion. And even though nobody ever said, we'll fire you if you say no, there was this quiet pressure, this unspoken expectation, and it felt like a large hidden frown made up of those in charge looming over my head. Church was no different. In church, you're taught to serve, to obey, to say yes to the work of the Lord. And it feels good at first because people smile when you agree to help. They call you faithful, obedient, righteous. And you start to believe that every yes you give is pleasing to God. But it's tricky because eventually you begin to feel obligated to say yes. You start to say yes even when your heart says no, even when your body is tired, even when your mind needs peace. You don't see it as people pleasing. You see it as doing God's will. But sometimes what we call obedience is really fear. And what we call righteousness is just a deep need to feel worthy. And this pressure to say yes isn't just at work or in church. It's everywhere. It's in television. It's in movies. It's in music. Even social media. They all carry the same message. Hustle harder. Don't quit. Be available. Be strong. Be useful. In media, lazy characters get laughed at. The hard-working ones, the ones who push through the pain, they are the heroes. The ones who say no, they're selfish, difficult, problematic. Even the music tells us to keep grinding, to sleep when we're dead, to never stop. So over time, you don't need a boss or a pastor to guilt you because the world already taught you how to do it to yourself. So I can't think of a time when anyone came right out and just told me, if you don't help, you'll be punished. Or if you don't do what we say, we'll fire you. But the belief came from somewhere, everywhere. And it stayed with me until I started asking, where did I learn to feel guilty for being human? If guilt didn't come from your body and it didn't come from your spirit, then maybe it was never yours to carry. And maybe it's time to set it down. You have been watching Unmasking the Struggle. May your struggle reveal your strength. And may you find freedom from the guilt you were burdened with. Thanks for watching. See you next time.